Okay, we're going to be looking at layer 2 VPNs now. So they're configured very, very similarly to the layer 3 VPN. The first one that we're going to look at is going to be an emulated hub. So we're running BGP signaling and we're basically building a hub. And by that, I mean there's going to be no MAC address learning. This isn't going to be a bridge, it's going to be a hub. It's going to pick up the packet and drop it off. We're going to build a full mesh of circuits, and the circuits will work together to provide this type of hub function. So, how does this configure? Well, we're going to put in some routing instance on each of the PEs. It's going to be an L2VPN instance. And it's going to configure really very similar to L3VPN with a couple of major exceptions. The first major exception is the encapsulation on the CE/PE interface here. We really must be running CCC because this is a circuit cross-connect. And the second thing that gets a little bit complicated is the mapping of the circuit numbers. And I'll talk you through that now. So if you remember with frame relay, we would have a DLCI or a data link connection identifier. Now we're very familiar with mappings. An ARP is a mapping. It's a remote MAC to, say, a remote IP. And with frame relay, we had inverse ARP because there was a crossover there. We were mapping a local data link connection identifier, or MAC, to a remote service. So what we have here is we're going to have the local VPN sub-interface number mapping to the remote site. Now, we're going to be starting at number 5112, unless we're running extended VLAN numbers, and we're going to be counting up. And for the sake of over-provisioning, we're only going to see half of our mapping. Let me show you what I mean. So here we are on router 3. We're site identifier 2. So the first one that we have will be site identifier 1. You don't see it, but that's so that we can have lots of these statements without the sites being named, and it allows you to add a site later and not have to configure all of the boxes. So where site identifier 1, site 2, sorry. So our first circuit will be site 1, our second circuit will be site 3 because we're site 2. The orange here is on site 3, which is router 5. It's site identifier 3, so the first connection will be site 1, which it is. The second will be site 2, and it's site 3. And then if we look at site 1, which is router 7 here, we see that it's site identifier 1. So the first circuit will be site identifier 2, which of course it is, S2, and the second will be site identifier 3, which of course it is.